You ever have one of those days when everyone is on your case, from your teacher all the way down to your best girlfriend? Well, I think I've had one of those days, but that's not going to stop me from filming this video. I just picked up this guitar, and as you can obviously see from the title, it's a standard Boden 6 Tremolo from Strandberg. And I kind of fought with the whole video format and what I was going to record and how I was going to do it. And I thought, you know what, shit, why are you going to change now, dude? You never plan anything. You don't script anything out. You don't write any details down. You just totally wing it. So despite some of the difficulties that we had today, we're just going to go with it and kind of give you some of my experience with the Strandberg Boden in particular, what my experience is with this new Boden standard that I picked up. I guess I got it 2 days ago now, a day ago. Boy, time flies when you're having fun. And maybe we'll go into some details about the standard line that you might not be aware of, that I was actually just made aware of after purchasing the guitar. So let me give you some history on my experience with the Strandberg Boden, because that's the only Strandberg model that I've had any experience with. And fortunately, I have a close friend, Ron, who owns two Bodens. Now, he owns the original Bodens, which specifications are a little bit different than the standard, but they're very, very similar. So if you have a chance to play an original Boden versus a standard, it's still the same playing experience, just a few tweaks. So, like I said, Ron has a couple of those. I remember going to his house and seeing them for the first time, and I thought, what the fuck is that? You've got to be kidding me. I've never seen anything like it. And I did have a flashback to the 80s with headless guitars, like Steinberger guitars, and I thought, ugh, I don't like that. Me being a traditionalist and absolutely loving Les Pauls and Telecasters and Stratocasters, when I first saw his Strandbergs, I was, kind of like, wow, that's extremely unconventional, and I don't know if I would like that. And then I played one, and I was blown away. I think most people would look at the body shape and say, well, that's a little bit odd. It does have some design elements of a double cut, like Strat style guitar, but still very unconventional. Same thing with the neck profile. Obviously, I think that's probably one of the most unconventional aspects of the guitar is the Endure neck profile. It is just this trapezoid shape, squared off, blocky neck that when you first look at it, you think, I've never seen anything like that, and that must be horrible to play. It's the polar opposite. The first time that I put my hands on one of Ron's Strandbergs, I was just absolutely blown away. I remember walking away thinking that was probably the best guitar I've ever played. Just absolutely phenomenal. Ergonomically, the most comfortable guitar you'll ever play. Sound-wise, playability, just the whole package. And it's just, like I said, such an unconventional shape and an unconventional design that I think we have a hard time wrapping our heads around this. Like, we're so used to the look of a headstock. We're so used to two or three different very traditional body shapes. So when we see something different, we're like, oh, what the fuck? Get that thing away from me. I don't recommend having that attitude when it comes to Strandbergs. I recommend being open-minded and giving one a chance, because if you do, I think you're going to be blown away. That being said, it took me like 2 years to get around to buying one. It wasn't really the cost factor that prevented me from purchasing a Strandberg. It was just, even though I had played two and I thought they were the most phenomenal guitars I had ever played, I was just so steeped in tradition, loving my Les Pauls and loving Telecasters, that I just kept overlooking the Strandbergs and saying, it's not my thing. They're great guitars, but I love the way a Les Paul looks. And then just recently I said, you know what, I have to purchase one of these. It's really very well suited for the situation I'm in right now, staying here in this villa in Hilton Head. I don't have a lot of practice room. A lot of times I'll find myself practicing on the bed, like I'm filming this video right now on the bed. And a big old Les Paul or a Telecaster is not very ergonomic for sitting around playing on the bed, whereas this particular body shape and the weight and everything is very conducive to this compact style of playing. Now, that doesn't really mean that it's light years beyond playing a normal guitar, because it's not. It's just more ergonomically correct and easier to use in different applications. You know, one of the things that I'm sure if you've watched other videos, we talk about the two different cutaways, and this one here being more of the traditional, I'm holding it here, and this one here being more of like I'm holding it like this, like a classical position, you know. And for my use, you know, just sitting on the bed, I remember, you know, thinking to myself, man, I think I need to buy a Strandberg. And I'm glad that I finally did, because it certainly has lived up to everything that I expected it to be, even though it's a step down from the original series that Ron has. So this being the standard, it's a little bit stripped down, but very similar in a lot of specifications, and I'll go into those in a minute. But you know, I'm I'm really happy that I finally took the opportunity to commit to having one and to be able to play one every day, because they really are phenomenal guitars. And one thing that I want to really drive home is when you see that they're manufactured in Indonesia, don't let that scare you away. And the best way that I can summarize this is Ola Strandberg, the owner of Strandberg Guitars, he is paying a premium from a labor standpoint to have this level of attention to detail on these guitars. So a lot of manufacturers are going to say, hey, you know, we want to mass produce, we want to cut costs as much as we can, we need to increase profits. I really think that Ola's focus is producing a very high quality guitar. And so I can guarantee you that he's paying a premium for that. That means that his profit margin is narrower, but he's also producing a phenomenal guitar. So there's more attention to detail with shaping the neck. There's more attention to detail with the fretwork. Stainless steel frets aren't easy to work with, and this has stainless steel frets. So all of the components, the materials, there's a premium to be paid for that. But what I can tell you is that the fit and finish and the quality of workmanship is on par with the absolute best American-made guitars. It is. It's as simple as that. I've owned countless Les Pauls. I've owned countless Fenders, Stratocasters, Telecasters, Paul Reed Smiths, you name it. I've owned them, and I can tell you with great certainty that the quality of craftsmanship on these Indonesian-made Strandbergs is absolutely phenomenal. So don't let that kind of steer you away from trying one of these or buying one. It's not even a factor. If anything, it's a huge plus, because, like I said, he's paying a premium to have this level of work done on this guitar. So before we get any further, let's talk about the standard model, and in particular the Tremolo model that I have here. This one is in this blue flame maple, which is absolutely phenomenal. Probably hard to see with my horrible lighting, but it's a beautiful flame maple veneer. Now, keep in mind, this does have about a quarter inch maple cap on it. That's a real maple cap, basswood body. Looks to be a two-piece basswood body. Now the difference between the standard here and the original Boden, you're going to have a swamp ash body on the original, and it's going to be chambered. On the standard, it's a basswood body, non-chambered, with a maple top. On the original, you're going to get a flame maple top. No, like I said, this does have a flame maple top. It's just a veneer. So those cost-cutting measures I don't really mind, because certainly a maple cap versus a flame maple cap isn't really going to make any difference tonally. Now, granted, I do think that the chambering and the swamp ash is going to change your tone a little bit, but I actually like the basswood in this format, because it's a little bit heavier than the chambered swamp ash, and I think that's a good thing. The reason I say that is that some people think that maybe the original series that are chambered with a super light swamp ash are too light and they feel toy-like. This has a little bit of weight. Granted, it's still very light, but it has a little bit of weight to it, and it feels good. So that's another thing that I certainly wouldn't let deter you from trying the standard. Is a lot of the materials are going to be very similar, just a few little tweaks. So you're going to get the same Strandberg proprietary trem on both the standard and the original, and this is just an absolute work of art. I know that Ola designed this kind of from the ground up. There's been a few tweaks over the years, but what I can tell you is that I got this new out of the box yesterday. I played it for a couple of hours. Pretty extensive use of the trem, and 12 hours later when I pulled it out of the gig bag, it was still perfectly in tune. So these stay in tune phenomenally well. The action is very light on them. They feel great, so you can get that soft little vibrato that everyone loves. You can do dive bombs, you name it. Let's get into the pickups real quick. There was kind of some information floating around out there that these are Strandberg OEM pickups, but someone manufactures them for Strandberg. And I found out today from the man himself, John Sewer, or Sewer, however you want to say it, that these are Sewer pickups. So they're made by Sewer. I don't know exactly where they're manufactured. I can't say that they're manufactured in the United States for certain, but I was on the Gear Page forum talking about this particular guitar, and John Sewer actually commented on my thread and said, we manufacture those pickups that are in your guitar. And I could tell by looking at them that the two single coils have cloth wiring. And I'm like, you typically don't see cheap Asian pickups or low-cost Asian pickups that have cloth wiring. So I was kind of thinking there's something not special, but higher grade to these single coils than I expected, and John Sewer was able to confirm that. So I know, John, you're not watching, but thanks to him confirming that these pickups in the standard are indeed manufactured by Sewer. So everyone knows Sewer guitars, absolutely phenomenal guitars. So between the bridge and the pickups, you're looking at some very, very high quality components. Now, getting into the controls, you've got an aluminum control cavity cover here, which has the jack built into it. I did pull this off to take a look at the electronics. What I can tell you is that the electronics are absolutely phenomenal. It's got CTS pots, which every legit guitar should have. The cavity itself is copper shielded, so there's like copper tape in there, like drawn to their template of the cutout inside the cavity. You typically don't see that on any factory guitar. I think some EVHs I've seen in the past, Wolfgangs have had them. It has the Pure Tone multi-contact output jack, with this just looking, like you wouldn't think you would get excited about an output jack, but when you see a Pure Tone multi-contact output jack versus just a regular Switchcraft output jack, you can really see the difference. I mean, it's just a really nice output jack. The 5-way switch, you can tell, is a high-end 5-way switch. So getting back to the craftsmanship and the materials and the cost of the guitar or whatever, everything in here is top shelf. The a really nice steel block for the trem, and one of the coolest things that I found out about the trem block itself is that it's got set screws that actually hold in the trem springs. So if you want to take the trem springs out, you got to actually loosen the set screw there. So I thought, that's kind of an ingenious design. I'm surprised that after all of the years of trem manufacturing that Ola came up with the concept of actually using set screws to hold the spring in. So once again, I'm going to keep driving it home. The quality of materials used here are just phenomenal, and that gets right up to the neck. So we're looking at the stainless steel frets here, which are just absolutely phenomenal. I'm pretty certain these are the Jeskar 57 110 jumbo stainless. Not 100% certain on that, but the fretwork on this is just absolutely phenomenal. So if you're familiar with stainless steel frets, you know that they feel like glass. It's one of the best playing experiences that you can have on a guitar. And then they don't wear like nickel frets. So once again, top shelf components on this beautiful roasted maple neck that is reinforced with carbon fiber. So you can see it's a multi-piece neck, and with that carbon fiber reinforcement in there, you know, that stuff's not cheap, man. To go through the process of roasting the maple, the carbon fiber, the lumen lay dots, not only, uh, you know, side dots, but the regular dot inlays or lumen lays. All of these little details add up to what is an absolutely phenomenal guitar. And I think at a very fair price point when you factor the quality of materials, when you factor the quality of workmanship and what you're getting. I think it's a very fair price point. It's not cheap. You know, this is kind of their mid-level Boden, and it's a $1,700 guitar. A lot of people might think, wow, that's a lot of money for that guitar. Well, there's a price to pay for quality and quality materials, and that's what you're going to get here with this particular guitar. One thing that I kind of skipped over when I was talking about the pickup, so obviously we got the HSS configuration here, humbucker, 2 single coil, 5-way, volume tone. The pickups sound huge and very, very warm. And I don't mean, you know, when I say warm, you know, some people might think that they're boomy or bassy. They feel very rich and full, which was really what I was hoping for out of the guitar. I think that kind of lends to this whole package. You know, you've got a little bit smaller packaging, you know, of the guitar body itself, and maybe to compensate for that, you're expecting some level of fullness, hopefully, from the pickups, and the pickups certainly do deliver on that. That's one thing that I forgot to mention is that you got Alnico 5 magnets in the humbucker and the 2 single coils, and they really do sound phenomenal. One thing I noticed about the specifically the neck and middle position, I guess, is that it's very Strat-like. So, but without the ice picky kind of edge, not too bright. It's just got a really, really warm tone. So, if you like a guitar that has a nice full-bodied warm tone, I think you'll be happy with the Boden standard and the standard stock pickups that come in it, because they really do sound phenomenal. I don't really know what other details I can go over. You know, we went over the neck. It just feels, it's just like pure heaven, man. The neck, you have to try one of these necks. I really highly suggest it. We're approaching 20 minutes, so fuck it. I don't care. We're just going to keep rolling with it. Fretwork, like I said, phenomenal. I mean, and it just adds to that playing enjoyment when the fretwork is perfect and you've got that glassy stainless steel, you know. The bends are so easy. It's just a great playing experience. That with the Endure neck profile, it's like it's it's extremely comfortable, really easy, especially for an intermediate guitar player like me, to pick up a guitar that doesn't fight you and that's easy to play. It's just a really great experience. So hopefully that gave you some insight on some of the details regarding, you know, the standard itself that maybe you weren't aware of. So like I said, we talked about the pickups being manufactured by Sur. You're getting the same super high quality trem system on this as you would any other Strandberg. Same roasted maple neck with the carbon fiber reinforcement, stainless steel frets, lumen lay dots. The only thing is there's, like I said, there's a few tweaks to the body with the basswood and the maple veneer. But other than that, wow, what a phenomenal piece of work. Super high quality gig bag. Probably one of the, you know, the coolest gig bag. This definitely has this like this vibe of like, yeah, it feels like an IKEA, really cool IKEA, go figure, gig bag. It's just, I love kind of their whole packaging, their whole marketing, the design elements, it gives you a completely different feeling when you pick up the guitar, when you think about the guitar. It's just, it's more of this modern, clean, like ergonomic feeling that you don't get with other guitars. And that doesn't take away from the mojo. I think that the guitars still have mojo. They still feel great. They still have a great sound. They still play great. It's just a different experience. And I really think that some of you guys that are on the fence about trying the Strandberg need to get out there and just do it. I mean, I think the worst case scenario, if you buy from Guitar Center, if you buy from Musician's Friend, if you buy from the Music Zoo, if you buy from Strandberg USA directly, all of them have a return policy, and the worst case scenario is you're going to have to pay for the shipping to send it back if you absolutely hate the guitar, which I highly doubt you will. So I highly recommend giving one a try. If you've got any questions, if I missed some details and I didn't really cover something and you want to know, feel free to leave a comment. Um, and will do my best to answer it. I'm still kind of a newbie, even though I've had 2 years experience with Strandbergs. Um, I'll do my best to kind of answer any questions that you might have, but I can't say it enough. Give one of these a shot. I think you'll be really, really impressed. And I know, that I don't have any regrets. And before I go, I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank my friend Ron for having two Strandbergs for me to play for almost 2 years before I pulled the trigger. And do me a favor, if you like the content, go ahead, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. I know that my format of videos is a little bit different than everyone else. We're 20 some minutes into recording a video, and it's just a lot of me talking, and there's no playing. And that's what you're going to get here with my videos, is that I'm going to try to go into fairly extreme detail regarding the gear, and not really any playing, not really any demo stuff. So if you like that format and you find it to be helpful, like I said, thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys soon. All right, take it easy now.